Hello and welcome to Mad About Sports for this live stream that we are doing on the IPL playoffs because we're just one day away from the playoffs to start. The group stages are done. It's a reset and a re-switch into the final leg, as you would want to say. So it's the knockout time. We've got four teams, man. We've got four teams who have qualified into the playoffs. Some of them were expected because some of them really kept their ground from the last time we all met you for the live stream. But there's a special entry there. I mean, Antariksh, we were talking about the special entry for a while, but we didn't, I'd say we'll hold our cards tight, but that special entry has certainly been quite impressive. But before we get into today's video, do not forget to check out our course on Mad About Sports on the cricket analytics. If you're interested in cricket analytics and if you want to make a career out of it, do not forget to check out the course because this is your opportunity to make a career in it. But Antariksh, how have you been enjoying the IPL thus far?
Wow, man. I mean, you must be loving life finally after all, right?
Yeah, pretty
So,
much.
I mean, who was that? Who was that? Do you remember the name of the guy who
Michael,
commented that?
Michael, Michael. I remember the name. I just checked the comments today.
Sorry?
It was Michael, if I'm not wrong, because I went
Michael.
on to check
Okay,
the video
okay, okay.
because I had to take his name today. I went to that video to check who it was.
Wow, like he's
Hi, Sarita.
he's
Hope you're doing
one
good.
one predictor, man. Like, I mean, we all took it as a joke. You maybe took it in a bit of as an aspirational fan, but it was still considered a long shot. Come on. I mean, I
Yeah.
saw the stat of what
Someone
RCB
also
having
told in a
less
live
than
stream,
half a
Antariksh,
percent
that
chance of qualifying after eight
yeah,
games.
yeah. Someone told that RCB will qualify in what? In some, there was some funny comment there. RCB will qualify if it is happening in UEFA Champions League, not in IPL. And
Yeah,
there's
Xavi
no way.
Alonso as their manager or something. It was
Yeah, Javilan's as their manager.
something
Yeah,
like I mean, I don't know like what happened there, but how is this even like happening? I mean, when like when this when sort of stars aligned in favor of RCB and how we were looking at it, and when the final sort of day came on, when they had to face CSK, and then they went to bat first and scored that 200. It was almost that feeling inside you. It was telling that
hmm
this is RCB's time now, and it was just pure cinema the way it happened. And I mean, I was scrolling through Instagram, and there was this video which said that Dhoni's 110-meter six actually helped RCB
yeah,
qualify
yeah, yeah.
because
I was gonna come
when
to
that
that. I was
ball
gonna
went
come
into
to
the
that
park,
later on.
so yeah,
Yeah.
they got the ball changed, which Kohli wanted some overs back because of the ball, which was becoming pretty slippery. So
Uh,
that was one stat.
Sarita says बोलिए ना हो रहा we have बोल the match पैसा बहुत हार गए सर कैसे recover करे okay we're talking about fantasy I think we will give fantasy side of things obviously I mean hope it's fantasy and it's not the B word but let's just talk about the teams right obviously we have the KKR Antarish you're a very happy guy right it's the first time ever KKR has finished number one points table in IPL history and I think they were number two with the last time we did a live stream. And you were very hopeful that it was going to be KKR in the top two as well. They were the first team to qualify into top two this season. And boy, they have had a phenomenal season to say the least. I think we'll talk about the four teams who have qualified. Starting off with KKR, then we'll come to RCB because RCB definitely has been a phenomenal story in itself. But as always,
Yeah.
when we come to this live stream, yeah, KKR have done the basics right. I mean, you can say their last couple of games have been a washout of sorts, but they wouldn't mind it, right? It's really worked well for them through the journey, and they've had the greatest revival story since last year. Gautam Gambhir, Chandrakant Pandit, Shreyas Iyer, you name it, and they've all had a phenomenal story to tell the fans and the people around because it's been a brilliant story. As a fan, you would have enjoyed it a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, the way things happened last year and how it was shaping up, I still believe we don't have the, in terms on paper, we don't have the best squad. It's just that a lot of people have come up with a lot of different. It's almost like we're playing at our optimum level. Like this is the
Yeah.
best of KKR, and we're consistently doing that. So I just believe, I still believe we need to do a better job. I hope next season, in terms of the pre-IPL strategies, which is the auction and how the team is to be planned. We have the mega auction, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah.
Next season. So yeah, I still believe there's a lot of work needed to be done on the backsides. But talking about this season, how we've been, I think we've just got all our bases covered. I think it starts with Narayan at the top, him
Yeah.
smacking, sixes left, right, and center. It's going to be interesting to see how we look to replace Phil Salt, who's going to be out now, of course. So I'm pretty disappointed, man. Last time I heard you were saying that we might have a talk with ECB or BCCI is
Yeah,
having a
that did
talk,
not go
but
through. That's
that's
why it
probably
went
going
to
to go
Josh
through. Yeah.
Butler
So
and Phil Salt,
yeah,
and
we've
we've
already seen the effects on Rajasthan Royals and how they've had what they've had,
yeah.
right? So that's one. So, but Revanullah Gurbaz is kind of a, I would like to call him the same profile. I mean, he's also an explosive opener, but it's going to be interesting to see how he develops because I think it's his first
But
game. Yeah,
look, when he's going to play the first game, right? He's going to play in a knockout game of an
exactly.
IPL,
Yeah,
and it's
I mean,
different beast
he could
altogether.
he could probably prove his worth there because last season he was decent. He was a bit on and off, but he really helped KKR do whatever good they did last season. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. At least Narayan, if he takes up. See, with Narayan, you can't tell him to take responsibility because that
Yeah,
adds a burden that no one wants. Because you don't like, as he says, right? He doesn't
yeah,
attend the batters' meet. He's only there for
right.
the bowlers' meet, and then he just goes out to bat. So he's
But
having his
just
fun there.
talking about the season, Antariksh, I mean, who would have ever imagined Narayan coming back to form that he has? Talk me through it. I mean, did you ever expect that Narayan was going to be your top highest scorer this season ever? And Narayan was going to be the guy who's going to be leading the charge both with the bat and ball. He's had an MVP sort of season, right? If you have to choose an MVP for this season's IPL, it's a no-brainer. It is Sunil Narayan by all margins. I mean, you have Virat Kohli, you have Abhishek Sharma, Travis said it's a tough one, but Sunil Narayan is definitely a standout because of what he's done both with bat and also with the ball.
Exactly. So the biggest factor which stands in for Sunil Narayan is that he does it with in both the aspects of cricket, right? In both the aspects of the game, whether it be bowling or batting, and he does it at a very phenomenal level. It's not like as I like to call it the Darren Sammy player, right? That he neither
Yeah,
does it with the bat or the ball
yeah,
completely, but he does
yeah,
it completely, fully with the bat and the ball. So he can win you games both ways, and he has done that. He's got I think three scores above 70, which one of them have been converted to 100. He's got, I think, three 450s, considering the 100 as 150 as well. So it's just been amazing the way he's been there, and I just believe. And then when throw him in a pressure for 6 overs, he'll get you 2 overs out of those six at an economy of 5-6. And when someone's chasing 200 and you get 13, 14 runs, in
yeah.
2 overs of power play, you've probably lost a lot of ground there. So that's one aspect. But you touched on Travis Head. You touched on there's of course Virat Kohli. Now it's going to depend on which team actually goes the farthest, which player probably has the best sort of effect in the playoffs and stuff. Is this the guy actually?
Yeah, he's
is
a
is
guy. He's a guy.
is he back to actually tell us that we laughed at the wrong guy?
Yeah, I told you is what he says. So,
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
back.
Michael, as an RCB fan, bro, you predicted it way before things even
Yeah,
aligned, right? I mean,
yeah.
RCB all thanks to Xavi Alonso. Uh, yeah, but coming back to the point, right? Again, what I wanted to make was if you were to make an opposition play against KKR at this point, everybody would
Yeah,
dread them because firstly, if they qualify into finals, pitch is going to favor the the KKR team because it's
yeah,
playing in Chennai, and you have two spinners who have been doing really well as Varun and Sunil. I mean, we have to talk about
yeah.
Varun Chakravarti here. I mean, what a season he's been having. Leading wicket
Absolutely.
taker for you guys. I mean, we've been talking to Sunil Narayan, but his partner has done a phenomenal job at the other end. Picked up close to 20 wickets, and he's been absolutely doing a phenomenal job. Jabi working with Invincibles, working magic on RCB. Yeah, they've not lost since that comment, lazy. Since you made that comment on Xavi Alonso, RCB has got the invincible power on them.
Yeah.
So you see that green marker on your screen right there with the tick tick tick. That's Xavi Alonso's by Leverkusen team. You know, they barely have his head in it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just been magic to see RCB the way they've played. And yes, as you were talking about KKR and what opposition stuff. See, that's what I'm saying, right? As they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So
Take your
So
mind.
as I said, right, what we need to be looking at is not letting our momentum fade, and trying to keep sort of the basics the same, and just looking to cover the way we've been throughout all season.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now coming back to next team, on the list it's SRH. I mean, outstanding season, right? Two of their openers scoring 1,000+ runs this season, and to add to which, I think one of the best things that could have ever happened to them is Patrick Cummins as captain. Let's be honest, 23 crore is really worth it when you're looking at it from a hindsight perspective. They've invested 23 crore, and it's really delivered, isn't it, Antariksh? They just lost Antariksh there. Yeah.
Sorry, could you go again?
Yeah, I was just saying that, now if you look back in hindsight, 23 crore was worth it for investment in Patrick Cummins. He's led the team beautifully. And though you'll talk about the two batters who scored in cumulation of 2,000 runs with Travis and Abhishek Sharma, but Patrick Cummins is someone who's laid the mindset for them to go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Because you know what, like, as when IPL was not started and we had this prediction round and stuff, and I was like, Patrick Cummins would be the person that could actually lead them to a great sort of IPL tournament, and I just believe that that's what happened. And he's a great captain, right? Since the time he was handed that Australian captaincy, right, the Test captaincy, and then eventually the ODI and T20, the ODI captaincy as well. I mean, he's established himself now as a global leader, and he sort of brings, I mean, all aspects to the table. He leads from the front. I mean, his compatriot Mitchell Stark, which I really hate to mention, was of the same price band, even higher, hasn't really delivered the results. But on the other hand, Patrick Cummins has showed what a good, sensible fast bowler and overseas fast bowler can do, and even as a captain. So yeah, kudos to him there.
Crucial. But let's talk about one player. Right? Nobody expected him to come good at the start of the season. It's Abhishek Sharma for the state. He's never faced more than 30 balls even once in his IPL, but he scored more than 450 odd runs. But that's a crazy stat to have, isn't it?
Yeah,
46ers and not face 30 balls even once. He's really redefined what T20 cricket is all about these days. You don't have to face a 50 ball. You don't need to have a 50 ball knock in order to be successful. And he's been the most impactful batter in terms of stats.
absolutely. And I mean, I believe this way back that, if you get a 35 ball 50, but if you get a 20 ball 44, 45, or 17, 18 ball 40 or something, I mean, that's equally or more effective, because I mean, you're probably giving the start that then leads on to certain batsmen who can then play that sort of an innings. So I just feel that it's just nice to have a batsman like Abhishek Sharma.
Absolutely. But yeah, I don't know about that lazy. I mean, we'll just talk about it later. I don't know. We are going to talk about Mumbai Indians because we've had enough of talk about Mumbai Indians throughout the season. Can't even find them on the table right now. Where are they? Yeah, they're number 10 there. But coming back to the point, Travis said Abhishek Sharma. It's a very funny thing because there was a story which Abhishek Sharma had narrated, during the IPL that he had told Travis that when he had come and joined the camp that I've been watching your videos for the last 2 years. And it's always been a dream that I'm getting to bat with you. And look at that guy. The guy was just maybe termed as a guy who could bat at number 5, number 6. Got a promotion in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy game for the Punjab team as well. Now batting in a tournament like IPL, he's not really looked behind. I mean, you can say it's like a one season wonder or a one innings bully, but he's been consistent. Even last evening, the kind of innings he played, he's looked absolutely out of this world.
Yeah, I believe so, and it's not just pretty recently that he's got this form. He's been doing it throughout the season, and I just believe that, I mean, at the start of the season, I won't say that he no one expected it, but no one really expected the intensity of with which he's performed, right? So
He was just lost on threads there due to some connectivity issues. Meanwhile, as he joins back here, talking about which, I think Travis said and Abhishek Sharma, that is, they have redefined IPL in a lot of ways. And in more sense, you can say that a lot of teams will look at this opening pair and be like, we can be successful in having two impactful openers and still win games. Look, they finished number 2 in the points, and obviously net run rate and a couple of results did go their way. But boy, oh boy, they've really made people to come and watch them bat. It's never Sunrisers Hyderabad has never been the most flamboyant team. If you look throughout the IPL, they've always had players. They always just scrape through wins.
Yeah.
Bowling has been one of the forte. But this season, no matter which team do you support, you want to sit and watch Sunrisers bat because there's going to be absolute fireworks when these two are out to bat. But let's talk about the batting lineup. It's a batting lineup, right? You have Klassen, Travis Head, and Abhishek Sharma. Other batters have just chipped it around. Even that's going to be one of the issues going into that finals, that by chance, if these three falls on a big day, how can they come out of that? And
That's the thing with superstars and domination by certain players in a team, right? That's always the case, because if they falter um, at the most important stage, or at a certain very crucial point, then what? But as sort of we've seen, not at their level, but still, I would say, the other batters have chipped. I mean, the occasional game, they've played the rotation game well, which is necessary for champion teams. What I mean by the rotation game is that sometimes, if one of the three batters or two of the three batters haven't performed, it's Markram or it's Nitish Kumar Reddy, and then sometimes it's Abdul Samad with the handy knocks at the end. So while they've still been over reliant, it's just that it's just been a virtue of the three brilliant players that they have had this season. But even when they've failed, I believe it's not been very poor for them, but it's still been a step down. So that is something that other teams, especially KKR, when they face them,
yeah,
of course KKR, when they face them in the qualifier, one would look to sort of exploit. Because see, the thing with them is that they're explosive batters, and with explosive batting comes a certain degree of risk. So that could be something that we could pounce upon. But if we don't, then it's going to be a difficult time for us.
I agree. I mean, I think that's something which KKR will have in their mind as well, especially understanding that if you let them off the hook, it could cause a lot of damage. And being Ahmedabad, the game it is for the first qualifier, it's a flatter wicket. If it was Chennai, you would have still said maybe you can use a Varun and Narayan, a much more effective way to stop them. But boy, they played spinners so well. And Abhishek has been taking on the spinners, meanwhile Travis has taken on the pacers. I mean, that's really dreaded the teams. That who do you put? When you ball with the spinner, Abhishek takes them on. When you ball with the pacer, Travis takes them on. So it's a good combination to have, and I like to give a underrated appreciation to Nitish Kumar Reddy. I mean, not a lot of people are talking about him, but this guy has been doing a very good job. Looks like a prospect, a fast bowling all rounder, can bat at top four. What do you make of this guy? He's very young, 20 years of age, and he's been doing a phenomenal job for the Hyderabad team, Nitish Kumar Reddy.
Yeah, exciting prospect, as you mentioned, right? A fast bowling all rounder who's actually pretty good, pretty handy with the bat as well. So it's I mean, another gem. The Recently I just saw Shashank Singh apparently bowls as well, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I
Shanghai
was
ball.
like, okay, he was yeah. So I was like, okay, so we've not explored that dimension yet. And then I remembered about this fella, and I just believe that it's good to have these all rounders, right? We've been struggling for them. Test match still, we sort of want to have five proper bowlers and six batsmen, five batsmen, one keeper. But in the shorter format of the game, especially T20s, of course, maybe ODIs as well, we're looking for these all rounders. So this coming crop of all rounders is something that will be really helpful for the Indian national team as well. And I really look at it this way, that you have this IPL and you can polish these superstars, because this is a time to
Yeah,
encash on them. Because we see, right, I mean, Abel, the other day we were discussing as to how when these players get into the Indian team, their strike rates just
yeah,
go out of the window. And that happened with Shivam Dube, Abel. So I was like, has the Indian team curse struck him as well? Because
yeah.
you know what, like Shivam Dube scores 15 in his first three balls, as far as I'm
Mm.
concerned. He
No,
took
actually, with
15
Shivam
balls to score
Dube,
seven
Antariksh
the
is
other day.
much more than strike rate here. I think it's a technical fault he has, which has been now exposed by a lot more teams. You saw it in the game against RCB. Once you have
Yeah,
ball
yeah, yeah.
ball 150 into his hips, he has no other option. What shots does he play? I mean, with the two bouncers rule in IPL as well, that's really put him under a lot of pressure, and I think that's what's been happening. I hope he finds a way to come out because you're going to be facing some top quality bowling in the World Cup. And if you're going to be playing as a top five batter for India, you'll have to be really good to counter them. But let's talk about Rajasthan Royals. I mean, that's about SRH. I mean, they've had a great season, maybe a 9 on 10, 8 on 10 season thus far. I mean, it'll only prove if it's a great season once you want to win the IPL or not. And I think they'd be very happy with the kind of job they've done to get the top two spot, especially Rajasthan Royals. Antariksh. I mean, They were on top of the table since the time we started doing the shows for IPL. But look at them right now. So there's a very interesting stat I saw. On April 30th, Rajasthan Royals had 14 points and RCB had 2 points. Rajasthan Royals are on top of the table, RCB are at 10. And cut to May 22nd, they're going to be playing Eliminator. And they were, that's crazy, right? That's how fast the
Yeah,
time
man.
changes.
I mean, 19 days is a big time. 19 days is a big time because, I mean, how the fortunes have turned. You say it's been a good season, and I kind of agree, but they'll be so disappointed, Abel, because the level of risk that comes with a team coming second and third is just humongous in IPL.
Yeah. And when you
You
have
see,
an opportunity, right? It's not like RCB that didn't have any opportunity to make it to top two or something like that. You were number one, and you let
yeah.
go of things. So that's how it
Yeah,
is.
exactly. And I mean, it's not like they were very reliant or overly reliant on Josh Butler. I mean, he did win them a couple of games, no doubt, but it wasn't something like Travis Head or Abhishek Sharma have been doing. I mean, it was still good, but not at that level. But the drop off, I mean, of course, he can't be the only reason, but the drop off has been there for everyone to see, and it's just a big shame for them that they couldn't qualify as the top two teams, and now they have to actually practically, not practically, they have to win all the games if they want to lift the cup. So they have no margin of error. But see, RCB also don't, but RCB come in with a winning mindset, with a big sort of a big boost of momentum, a big morale boost, or everything you could have. And now when they're finally in the top four, now when they play this eliminator, they have a lot of big personalities. And you know what? I actually fancy RCB in this one because now I see RR and the inexperience maybe kick in a bit because they,
Yeah.
they have been led by proper Indian local lads, and then
Mm.
you added a couple of international flavors to the mix.
Yeah.
But RCB, the way they've been playing, the way their bowling has clicked, especially, batting has been doing it for
Yeah,
all the
just
years, and
we'll
this
come to
season is.
RCB, but before that, just talking about RR as well. Shimran Hetmai not being there since May 7th, I believe. That's been the time since they've been losing, right? That's been a major blow for them. Because Shimran Hetmai has been such a glue to their middle order and lower middle order. He used to take them home more often than not in the last couple of years whenever they were in trouble. Now that's really gone missing. Now it has come down to a Dhruv Jurel or even for the matter Riyan Parag, who still I believe is still inexperienced. He's got a 500 run season, but come on, he's not a Shimron Hetman who can win a game single-handedly. Like the impact he used to have was massive, and now that you have to rely on a Tom Caller Cadmore, I don't think he's of that level of a Josh Butler. And Robin Powell is definitely not a Shimron Hetman replacement.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You're right. I mean, these players have to step up now. And as you said, Riyan Parag, Dhruv Jurel hasn't had the best of seasons, and it'll be a bit disappointing format with India. But he sort of came in with that momentum, hoping to get a good IPL under his belt, but he couldn't. So, but this is the time he could possibly
Yeah,
play three more games and then possibly be a big player for his team, but that
yeah,
remains to be seen. But man, Robin Powell, Shimron Hetmeyer, they have to step up their game because, as I said, I just trust the individuality of RCB more now.
yeah.
Now being the keyword as they're in the whatever
I
playoffs.
mean,
So yeah,
for the first time, we can say in a lot of years, RCB look like a team. It's not reliant on one man. If you
yeah,
look, that's been the man of the matches, right? They've had two man of the matches from Virat Kohli and the rest five from different people. I mean, that's a total team show. You have different people stepping up. A Will Jack someday, a Cam Green someday, Yash Dayal, Faf du Plessis. I mean, that is a scary thing. Rajat Patidar. I mean,
yeah.
we've given him a lot of flack, right, for the Test series he's had against England, and we were like, no, this guy doesn't look the fit. But that guy really showed what he's worth about. But talking about which, just talking about two important things here. Rajasthan Royals, do you reckon coming into this tournament, they were the favorites? I call them as one of the favorites. And I had two teams who I put in the top four at the start. Two of them made it, two of them did not. You had two teams out of four which made it, which means we're equal. We've had 50% of our predictions right. So I think you had SRH and KKR. I had RR and RCB. So CSK and Mumbai was from mine who did not make it. But before we go to RCB, I
Which
think
were the
let's
other
talk.
two teams I had?
I think you had Punjab, and I'm forgetting which was the. I think you had LSG. Yeah, you had
Yeah,
LSG.
yeah.
LSG. So yeah, I mean Punjab. When he told Punjab, I was supremely surprised, but it's okay, man. It happens. We always want to put our heads out. But I am very surprised with how the way in which CSK and Mumbai did not qualify because those both were the most balanced teams if you look on the paper. Both had a captaincy change right before the IPL, so that's really shown in the way they've played as well. So I think we've talked a little bit about CSK not making the play. If you remember last live and the live before that, we put our heads out saying that CSK will be not making the playoffs, and they did not make the playoffs. What do you feel
Yeah,
about that?
exactly. And pretty on spot, I'd say. I mean, and I just noticed, right? Fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, all with 14 points, right? Wow. I mean, that's just humongous. And I mean, looking at GT's last two games, right, washed out. I mean, that could have
Yeah,
been a pretty different story as well had they not
yeah,
gotten washed out. So a very, I mean, a very touch and go. And see, this is why net run rate matters so much, right? Just because of the net run rate what LSG had and DC had, they were practically knocked out even before they played their
yeah,
last game. But just
yeah.
because RCB had the odd victory with a huge margin, they avoided defeat a couple of times with
Mhm.
huge margins. This is where they land now. I mean,
Yeah.
four
I mean,
teams
I
on
think
14
it comes
points.
down to that game which Karan Sharma almost pulled it off against KKR, where he scored this
Oh,
20 of 7. You lost by 1 run. I mean, that's what the margin is
yeah,
ultimately. So Karan
exactly,
Sharma
exactly.
will go under.
You're
Nobody will
absolutely
talk
spot
about
on. Exactly, man. Exactly. And I just remembered that game. What a game. What a game that was, right? And I mean, Karan Sharma doing what he did. I mean, even before that, right? The comeback they were stitching and then they lost it almost. And then Karan Sharma doing what he did in the last over. So, yeah, these are the fine margins. You're absolutely right? Because had that margin been of not of 18 runs or of 30 runs, the equation would have been completely different against CSK,
it.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, so yeah, 18 runs is what they required. They did it with a lot more to spare.
And
I mean, when
what
Jadeja
RCB
has
has also
had to
done
get
is
10 of 12,
what RCB has also
I
done
was
is they
like,
have
not
finished
again.
almost
So,
every
but
game
but
in like
yeah, go on.
17th over or even more than 25 runs since that particular loss. So every win they have had is not a small win. It's not like a last ball finish or a 10
Yeah,
run win. It's all been massive wins or massive wins in terms of overs to spare. So that's really worked in their favor. But let's talk about RCB now. Crazy, isn't it? The story has been. I mean, we had Michael predict a couple of weeks ago, and Lazy also said Shabi Alonso would be the one who will change it around for them. But jokes apart, that team had to write their own script, and they did it quite in some fashion, I would say. Let it be Virat Kohli, let it be Rajat Patidar, DK, a lot of players had to step in, and the entire team did step in. Siraj had a resurgence, Lockie Ferguson had a resurgence. Everybody is chipping in at the right time.
oh, absolutely. And you know what? I mean, whatever you make of the team or whatever you want of RCB, I mean, I was just so happy, ecstatic to see King Kohli. I mean, you as an Indian fan, you live and breathe for him, and to see him, I mean, the pure emotion because right, because it's just that phenomena, right? Like you imagine him as a king, he could have whatever he wants in his life, practically. I mean, unironically, he could have it. But the one thing that he can't go anywhere near is that IPL trophy, right? Now, I still don't think he's probably going to lift it. I mean, you would obviously disagree, but just the pure emotion, right, of him just getting there. I mean, it was just so fantastic to see as an Indian cricket fan, as a Virat Kohli fan. Loved it, loved it. I mean, Dhoni has got a lot of goodbyes, man. He's like Messi, even after the World Cup, he's still wanting to play. I don't know for what. So
Yeah.
like both of them could have had the fairy tale
No,
ending,
at
right?
least with
Just
Messi, what they
retire now.
say, he made it very
But
clear that he wanted to play as a world champion. So he has been very clear that I'm playing the next tournament. But this with Dhoni, we don't know. Like it's next year, this year,
I mean,
now it's going on.
maybe you know what, like maybe of course CSK doesn't do that and stuff because now he really poses a different difficult question with his franchise, right? With the mega auction coming, does he reduce his salary to stay at his boyhood club like football? It's going to be that's a different conversation. But talking about RCB, very happy as a Virat Kohli fan. Now remains to be seen how they turn up. I hope they take the momentum forward, for you, Abel, for your smile as a co-host, right? I would wish you for that. So but brilliant work.
How
I
do you
didn't expect
fancy
some numbers.
KKR RCB final, bro?
Ooh,
That'll be some game. Huh?
oh, that's
Will
gonna
be
be
amazing.
massive.
I think we're
Massive.
gonna
That's
in
gonna be
that
some game.
case we're gonna have two back-to-back finals because United and City are playing on a final. KK and RCB final. We'll have to be here back-to-back to talk about all these then. Rivalry. Then the two co-hosts as like personal rivalries right in front of you because our teams are up against each other. Hopefully another final as well. I just hope. That's what I can say.
Yeah. Remains to be seen, as I said, man. It's just, again, as I said, a very very happy sort of path to the playoffs for him, and everyone stepped up, as you mentioned, right? It was a team effort. It wasn't right.
Yeah.
Like Virat Kohli was doing it from the start, but it's
Yeah.
like the whole team joined in now, and
Yeah.
just very happy the way it
But
happened.
I think as we speak, we have to talk about one particular player that is Yash Dayal. I mean, KKR came up with a very sweet tweet to him last year when he got hit for those five sixes, and this year again, class from KKR to say that, you know, we knew he would come back and come back is better than setback. And even Rinku posted an Instagram story, "It's God's plan." So, Yash Dayal has been a story. Everybody felt bad for him, right? After that five sixes, even you as a KKR fan, you would know on the other end, though you were ecstatic about the win, but when you just take from an opposition POV, that guy publicly came out saying that I was traumatized. I had to undergo depression. I got
Yeah.
ill after that game. But boy, oh boy, after that first ball six, as you mentioned, yeah, it is destiny that the ball went out of the ground and the ball was changed, and you got a drier ball, etc. But then still to execute five slower balls back to back, and just to give away one run after that six, that is something which you really call nerves of steel, and that's something where you give
Uh,
absolute appreciation to yes, they are redemption as you call it.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember the year. I was watching that game in this exact room at this exact place, right? And I remember Rinku just smashing one after the other, and I was over. I was like, "What have I seen as a cricket fan?" But immediately my heart went to the bowler. I was like, "It's not an established international bowler. If he had been hit, it would have still been recoverable." I was like, "He's gone. Like all these
Yeah,
years of mehnat from his side, they're gone." And then he was nowhere to be seen the next day. And then we heard stories about his father, crying, his mother not being able to eat anything. He got dengue or something, and then he lost a lot of weight. And then he was obviously released by Gujarat Titans. But then, I mean, people would say he was bought by RCB. But remember, he was bought by RCB because he fought his heart out in the domestic circuit. It's
yeah,
so easy to prepare for a big tournament like IPL, but it's so difficult to tell yourself for 1 year that I would do endless mehnat, I would do rigorous activity the same way that I did before that incident, in the hope being
yeah,
the keyword, in the hope
yeah,
that
yeah,
I would be picked despite my reputation
yeah,
only on my stats for this year.
yeah.
That is such elite level mentality, able that takes so
True.
much, because even if you have the bestest of seasons domestically, one, you don't get many eyes in the Indian domestic team. मैं तो वो पांच छक्के वाला bowler हूँ. I'll always be that bowler. But
Mm,
then, because his season, his bowling, his
mm.
the scouting of RCB looked at the stats and not at the image portrayed.
Yeah.
Fantastic work, I must say, by RCB in putting faith in Yash Dayal
But,
and Yash Dayal
I
himself.
think we'll remember him for 1 over, but nobody talks about he's the leading wicket taker for RCB this season with close to 16, 17 wickets. And there was a point
He's
when he was the only guy with
he's been
double
the
digits.
most trustworthy bowler of Faf du Plessis this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime
He's
he's
been
wanted a
bowling well
wicket,
up front.
it's gone for Yash
I mean,
Dayal.
the swing he has gotten, we talk about Mitchell Stark, obviously, but this guy has gotten the ball to move in and move away. That's been some delight to watch. I mean, everybody will remember him for the last over, but do not forget what he's done throughout the season. The comeback has been inspired by this guy. This guy has been phenomenal up front. There were games where he missed out on picking up wickets, because he was
Yeah.
unplayable. Batters are unable to connect him. That's how good he was. So I think Yash Dayal, man, he's a redemption story, not just for RCB but for the IPL at large. Like every guy who has had a setback this season can look to Yash Dayal and be like, one day we can be him. We can come back. Like I remember Stuart Broad. Like after getting hit for six sixers, he was from the six sixers bowler. And for him to come back and pick up 600 wickets in Test cricket, that was phenomenal. And I still think
Fantastic.
yes,
Yeah.
they are is a much better red ball bowler than the white ball bowler. If India are looking at a left arm option in future in the red ball format, I certainly think he is definitely up there with him. Because if you've seen domestic cricket for UP, this guy is phenomenal there in the red ball format, and I think he's got a long way. I remember him getting selected for an Indian team after his 2022 IPL exploits, but last year really derailed hopes, but it's cricket, you know. Sometimes maybe you can go through the worst, but it's about how you come back out of it. That's RCB, but I think before we end the show, we have to talk just about a little bit about CSK and Mumbai Indians because five timers have not really made the finals. And this is the first time in IPL history, back to back seasons where you've had two different four top four last season and this season. Since the advent of IPL, you always had some team from the last season making the top four. So it's the first time ever two new top fours back to back. So that's something crazy, isn't it, to have?
It is. It is. I mean, that shows maybe a team's getting more competitive. I mean, we're becoming sort of a league which is not as predictable as before, but we still see a couple of teams rooted at the bottom or on the bottom side, which are pretty much always there. So that's still to be seen.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, overall, it was a very healthy. I mean, 14 points for four teams. That tells us a lot. 12 for GT with two washouts. So yeah, I mean, the clear disappointment obviously has been of MI, the very clear. But it was like it was foreseen. It was almost foreseen. Like had Mumbai Indians played well, they would have defied the expectations. The expectation actually was a disappointment this season. I don't know why.
Are you sure
Just
about that? I really thought with the team they had, there was nothing stopping them from winning games. But what happened is controversies number
no,
one.
that's what I'm
Going,
saying. Yeah, yeah. Taking that into account. I mean, the level of toxicity that went before the IPL season started, that was just I believe just too much for any environment to handle.
yeah, and the stump. I think the video recordings which came out with Rohit and Abhishek Nair and everything, it just did not do well to the franchise. Yesterday, Rohit came out saying that why are you recording me everywhere I
Please,
go?
bhai. Yeah, he was like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
so and you have to issue a public statement for that. So it's never been good in MI, but the sad reality is some of these players are going to be representing us in the T20 World Cup, and three of them, three major players, which includes Rohit Sharma, Bumrah, four of them rather, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik. So four of that's been a, Mumbai has a bad season. Indian team eventually goes on to have a bad tournament. That's been kind of inversely proportional, you can say, unfortunately, and I hope that's not the case for the T20 World Cup. Just a take on CSK. We knew what happened in MI, but CSK very inconsistent. You can say, unlike the CSKs of the past, they've always found a way to win. The three teams of the past, you can say MS Dhoni not being captain, etc., etc. But Ruturaj Gaikwad is totally different, right? He's not really trusted spinners as much. He's had his own way of operating, but it's not been the most effective way.
yeah, you could say that, but I genuinely don't buy into the fact that Rituraj would really be, as I've said, right, that he would really be captaining in a very true sense. I mean, I'm not saying that he wouldn't, but as long as Dhoni's there, I mean, he has to have a he has to have some amount of veto power there. So I just believe that. What I believe is that unlike CSK of past, right, they were very individual based this time, right? I mean, I could literally give you one reason as to why they struggled. It was Patirana and Mustafizur. That's it. Had these two been there, I can bet anything that they would have been probably second, or if not second, at least third.
Yeah,
Even the games they were winning, it was like they were losing games up until, so you have the first 20 overs and then the next 7 overs. They would keep losing the game in the first 27 overs, and then the next 13 odd overs would be three of Mustafizur and four of Patirana, and that's where they would win the game.
yeah,
Patirana would pick three wickets in the middle overs after two have already fallen in the first six, and
yeah,
that's the team's batting done. So it was literally that simple, I believe. But of course,
yeah.
everything is as simple. Why were they individual based? I think then that opens a different box altogether. Ajinkya Rahane.
I mean, let's just talk about this weird trust they had towards Ajinkya Rahane. Understandable that he delivered for you in the last season, where you gave him this new life. You got selected even for Team India after the IPL season. But in all honesty, somewhere down the line, trusting someone who's had a pathetic domestic season. He's possibly had an average of what 10 inside Mustaq Ali Trophy, and he had no 50 plus score until Ranji Trophy final. The Ajinkya Rahane I'm talking about. He was awful coming into the season, anyways. You continue to trust him, great. But at one point, you are supposed to say, you know what, let's look at someone else. They did not do that. And they kept tinkering with the opening stand as well. Somewhere Rachel and Rutu, somewhere you had Ruturaj and Rahane. So it was all over the place.
It was. I believe so, and I was really disappointed with the lack of trust in Ravindra. I just believe. I mean, the intent he showed in the first couple of games, and yes, then he started to falter a bit. I mean, I think he was just not given that benefit of the doubt, and I believe Daryl Mitchell was given too much. So I believe that could have been mixed a bit better. And I just believe that for the past 3 4 seasons they've had this player. They had Ajinkya Rahane, obviously. This I mean, for the lack of a better word, old Indian batsman who's sort
Yeah,
of coming to the end of his career, but then gets a couple of seasons going. We had Robin Uthappa, if you remember, right? A reject all around. The last good thing happened to him was KKR, and then he comes all along and then just smashes KKR in the final with
yeah,
CSK. And then before that, they had Ambati Raidu obviously doing that, right?
yeah,
So they've had this one batsman that not really everyone would have in their team, but they've made the
yeah,
most of him. But this time that tactic sort of failed. I genuinely believe that Ajinkya Rahane would still do it in the power play at least,
yeah.
get those 20 30 runs. But it wasn't to be. And that just set the tone wrong, all wrong for them. And as I said, the lack of the two pacers that they had, just them disappearing. Um, Spin was not really the
I think
best this
spin wasn't one of the biggest issue. I think not trusting spinners. I mean, Mitch Sandner, I thought should have started almost every game. I mean, you saw what he did, right? Even against RCB in that match, when the pitch was turning, there, even Faf accepted that was like facing a bowler on day 6 of a Test match, not even day 5. Talking day 6. Like if the match goes on day extra, that's how tough it was to face Mitch Sandner.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that is what it. Mitch Sandner is a world class spinner. You never use him. You use a Tikshana. I know, you have Ravindra Jadeja. Why should you use a mid sander? But at the end of the day, you need a proper spinner who can take wickets. And that was mid sander for you. It was never going to be Deep.
I mean, as I said, right, it was just a series of mistakes that CSK really made, and you're right in pointing it out. But one could argue that again they had a similar profile in Ravindra Jadeja, bats a bowler, a left-handed off spinner who could bat. So they
Yeah,
probably wanted to go with Theeksana. But if that wasn't working, you're absolutely right. Keeping the caliber of Mitchell Santner so
yeah,
long on the
yeah,
sidelines was not really the best move, I believe,
yeah,
and
I
that,
agree.
along with a lot of other reasons, may have costed them the playoff spot. And let's see now, man. I think it's going to be a revamp. One player that I'm really worried about is Ruturaj Gaikwad as a captain, because
Yeah.
then all the lines are drawn towards the captain now. What's going to happen with him as a batsman? He saw redemption and he took it with both the hands. He scored 200s, I guess.
No, he scored 100, but 198. Very close.
Okay, yeah, sorry, my bad. So yeah, so he got 3 4 big scores and yeah, 100, 190. So he really did well as a batsman, and I'm really not. I mean, I don't now, but I used to look out for his strike rate and stuff. But the longer his innings goes, the better his strike rate becomes, which is a very good sign, right? And I mean, he doesn't let his strike rate dip too much at any point of time in his innings, so that's very nice. So very happy for Rituraj as a batsman, but worried for him as a captain, because I like young Indian captains being given the chance in IPL, and I believe with whatever Dhoni has done throughout the years, a blame could be upon Rituraj's head.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Raj will continue to captain CSK in my opinion because CSK isn't a franchise that's going to discard a captain after once. Okay, Jadeja fiasco is certainly something which you can talk about, but Ruturaj looks like certainly a succession plan there. A young captain, face of Chennai, people love him. Exciting player, and even learn, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
even Dhoni did not win IPL in his first try. Everybody learns through the process, and it's never going to be easy to replace a Mahendra Singh Dhoni. I mean, I don't think there's going to be anybody who's going to be there to replace Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So your standards are high, but let him learn. Let the kid learn. So give him that ownership. Let him pick the team next season, and give him all that he wants. He might win you an IPL next season. If you have to go by the track record of CSK, 2020 they did not make the playoff. They won in 2021. 2022 they did not make the playoff. They won in 2023. This year they did not make the playoff. So if you know what I mean, 2025 hopefully they win it. They've now started this odd year theory which Mumbai used to have in 2013 onwards. So you never know, man. So it might just go in your favor next season. It's a new team. I still think there's a lot of exciting players there. But let's before we end the show, I think we'll talk about the disappointments of all seasons. Kings 11 Punjab. Oh, Punjab Kings rather. I'm sorry. Uh, there's nothing much to talk about then. But how do you define this? Every year, same old stuff. I mean, with RCB, at least I can say they've not won a cup, but they've been the most consistent team since 2020 in making playoffs. They made the playoff 4 times since 2020. But for Punjab, they made to the playoff twice in their entire IPL history, 2014 and 8. 10 years no playoffs. How long are you going to persist with such a
I mean,
performance? I know.
I think these
With
guys in
SRH
Delhi.
win, Bharat, Jain, Mankana, Suchitra, I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, I would say I would give them a 30% chance. Or if you have to make a pie chart, SRH will hold 30% of the share. KKR I would hold 35. I'll give 25% to RCB, 10 to Rajasthan.
There you go. I'd probably keep it the same. I think you summarized it perfectly there. But
Yeah.
talking about these guys, Punjab, I think, as I said, Punjab and Delhi are in a competition of their own to determine who's the worst ever team to grace the stage of IPL. I mean,
No worries,
they're
man.
just
Keep asking questions on SRH. We'll answer it. Do you have any questions on SRH, any player? We're here to answer it. We'll take it all. Yeah, go ahead. Anshul. Sorry.
yeah, I mean, it's really disappointing, and I feel for the fans, right? Some of the most passionate fans in Delhi, and I'm sure there would be in Punjab as well, of course. I mean, but it's just all over the place. Disappointment for owners, disappointment for fans, and as I said, these two teams have really been big disappointments throughout all seasons. They've had the odd season where they've, I would say, overperformed, but they've had seasons where they've had probably the best squads in IPL, but they just don't click. They've tried. फनीली इनफ इन दोनों ने अपने नाम भी चेंज किए हैं लोगोस भी चेंज किए हैं in order to get some of their astrology stuff right and everything, bad luck, bad omen सब हटा दिया, but कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा. Jersey color pattern सब change कर दिया. I think I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just maybe अब दिल्ली और पंजाबी हटा दो टीम में से maybe. I mean, maybe that's the way to go. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, man. I don't, man. No offense, but I don't think that really wins you tournaments. At the end of the day, you have to focus on what is on the cricketing field. And I think Sam Curran being captain, Shikhar Dhawan, not saying Shikhar Dhawan wasn't easy, but I don't know, somewhere down the line, they need a
What was the
complete
injury
overhaul.
that happened to Shikhar Dhawan actually?
I have no idea. There's no clarification at all on that. There's not a single word on what happened.
Exactly, right. So I believe there is something fishy, man. He was the first person. He went to the IPL camp 1 month before, and
Yeah.
it is had it been a very big injury, we would have known. But
Maybe
there's
it
not.
could be, which we do not know. But I would like to pinpoint two people, two coaches of two teams. Now we talk about coaches being such a big factor, and I think RCB's biggest success has been because of Andy Flower and Mo Bobat. Andy Flower is a coach who has won England T20 World Cup, PSLs, T10 leagues, hundreds. He's a champion winner. And Mo Bobat, who's a white ball revolutionist of England cricket. So that mindset really matters in a dressing room. But I'm not talking about Andy Flower or Mo Bobat here. I'm talking about Sanjay Bangar and Mark Boucher. I'd like to give you two stories, okay? Sanjay Bangar, former coach of RCB, former batting coach of India. Why I'd like to bring the story is the same dude who told MS Dhoni to bat number 7 in the semi-final of the World Cup. Now, and one of the reasons why he got sacked out of the Indian team's batting coach. For RCB last year, he was head coach. He kept making tactical mistakes again and again and again. And this year, he was coach of the Punjab team. Boy, oh boy, you saw what happened. Dhawan faced shoulder injury in match against us. Yeah, he did face a shoulder injury, but the shoulder injuries take what 2-3 weeks to recover if it's not a dislocation. And there was no dislocation. It was told that it's a minor shoulder strain. So that's what's been iffy, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so Sanjay Bangar, talking about him, I think he's a tactically the most nuisance coach out there in the world. He has no idea about tactics. I'm sorry, but I'm saying from my personal experience of him working in RCB and Indian team. You saw that one tactical mistake of MS Dhoni not being sent out in the World Cup semi-final cost us possibly a World Cup. And this dude is now the coach of Punjab. And the moment they appointed him, I was like, this team is gone. Now, Mumbai Indians, I want to pick up Mark Boucher. He's the same coach who created all the problems in South African dressing room in 2019 onwards. He created that Faf du Plessis fiasco in 2019. There was a lot of racism episodes going on when he was a coach. He's a coach of Mumbai Indians. He's a coach who does not know how to manage a team. So these two coaches, I'll call them out, and these two coaches will hold a lot of problems, especially not their team's not going through. Your thoughts on that, Antariksha?
Yeah, I think you've always been a passionate guy to talk about coaches, because I'm of the opinion that I mean, for me, it's a bit hard to see how coaches influence that much in cricket. But see,
I think
I
IPL
don't
they do, bro. I mean, I don't know about the international cricket as such, but IPL they do. Let's be honest. Gautam Gambhir runs the show in KKR. You have to accept it.
exactly, that's what I'm saying, right? Because I'm not able to pinpoint what they exactly do, but I'm able to see the difference. And you're right. I mean, Gautam Gambhir, I think the biggest factor that Gautam Gambhir gives you is unlimited support. Now that has its drawbacks, that जो players starting 11 में नहीं है, it's going to be a very hard path for them to get in. But जो लोग starting 11 में है, they would be bagged until the last straw. I mean, Mitchell Stark being the perfect example. And if Mitchell Stark does anything good in the playoffs, I think it's going to be Gautam Gambhir who would take all the praise. I mean, take me, he should
Never
be given.
discount Mitchell Stark in big games, bro. I mean, he's got that Australian mentality. We've
Oi,
seen that.
exactly.
That dude might just deliver in the biggest match for you. That's the final of an IPL.
Exactly. So I know what we get with Gautam Gambhir. As I said, I'm still not able to pinpoint what they do on the field and how they affect it,
Yeah.
but I can see the results. So you're probably absolutely spot on about Mark Boucher, how his history has been, and that of Sanjay Bangar. I never really liked him as the Indian coach, right? Not the head coach, but the batting coach, as you said. I just did not. I didn't have a very big reason or so, but I just did not. पता नहीं मुझे वो बैट्समैन ही खुद अच्छा नहीं लगता था इतना, so I thought
I
batting
mean, he was
coach,
not a good
but
batter
that's not a
anyway.
fair
But
reason.
for me,
But yeah,
he might be a great man manager of sorts, but him as a tactical person is way off the belt. And I don't think if your tactical news is really down, and I don't think it should really, it really affects you. Some people are tactically very astute. I'll give credit for someone like this. Samukar is tactically astute. Gambhir is tactically astute. Andy Flood is tactically very astute. Even for the Stephen Fleming is tactically very astute. These people are some of the top teams in IPL for a reason as well. I mean, nobody's talking about Dan Vittori, but Dan Vittori has been one of the reasons why Australia did win the World Cup as well. He's been a backroom staff there, Pat Cummins there. But yeah, finally, before we end the show, Gautam Gambhir for Indian coach, BCCI has approached him. How do you see? KKR
yeah.
missing out on him, or would you take him as an Indian coach?
Oof. I think if they really have, I genuinely can't say that he'll accept, because he's a complex character. Yeah, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
the reports coming that he's been offered a blank check by Shah Rukh Khan, what he's been doing with KKR, the
Yeah,
amount
the
of
other
love
day,
that
Jay
he
Shah
put.
offered him a blank check. Though he does not get the MP position in East Delhi this year, but a blank check definitely from Jay Shah.
I mean, comparable, comparable the amounts of money that they would have earned, whether legally or not. That's a question. That's a different question. But yeah. Anyways, as I said, right, he's a very complex character. Like 1+1 2 नहीं होता उसके लिए. It's Marcus Rashford. So so he's a very complex character in that sense.
Except that
Yeah.
opinion of his, I totally love the guy.
No. It's just entirety, right? Who's the best cricketer, white ball cricketer? It's Yuvraj Singh. You're like Kohli or Sachin. It's Yuvraj Singh. I mean, Yuvraj Singh is not a bad player, but again, so that's Gautam Gambhir for you. Whether he has the knack to be different or he really
So
thinks that way.
what I'm
But
really worried about is could be a great move, but what I'm really worried about is then the captain of Indian team will not run the show. It has
हाँ,
to
and
be Gautam Gambhir, the coach.
हाँ
He
वही,
doesn't
as
like
they say, एक
the
जगह पे
support.
दो गुंडे नहीं हो सकते, right? There's this saying, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
And
Shah
Shah
Rukh
Rukh
Khan
Khan
saying it,
realized
right?
it very well. Huh? Shah Rukh Khan was the first one to say that. Okay, bro, you are
Exactly,
the
that's what I was saying. Yeah, right. It was indeed Shah Rukh Khan who said it, right? So he has realized it. So it's gonna be seen, but I don't think it's gonna be very early for him to. But then again, the Indian job doesn't come. See, it depends on him. If it has come to him, only Gautam Gambhir can know, because, as I said, he
But
बड़ा
how
यहाँ
would
से.
now Gautam Gambhir is a coach for Team India? It will kind of we will take on oppositions, bro. Regardless of conditions, wherever we go, we'll give
Oh
it
yeah,
back.
it's
Gonna
gonna
be
be
that
so
era back
intense.
again.
So intense. It's going to be so intense, right? I mean, that guy put a leg slip, a short leg, a slip for MS Dhoni in IPL. I mean, that
Yeah,
was peak Gautam Gambhir, right? So, you know, what to say about him? Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does.
absolutely, man. Man, if Gautam Gambhir gets the Indian team post, I mean, I would love to watch Test matches. I would love to watch Indian team matches for this guy. I mean, games against Pakistan ain't gonna be about friendships anymore, bro. He's
Oof.
gonna go at you. That games are gonna like just spike up. And Australia, I'm telling you, Hopefully, the Border Oscar trophy at the end of the year, we have him. We're not gonna back down. I swear. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one fault which I have with Rahul Dravid. We became all of a sudden we started dropping shoulders too early. So that's something which you're not gonna get. We are gonna go. We're gonna fight fire with fire. Is Dhoni retired? Why can't he become the coach? Maybe he could be the coach of CSK, and maybe Stephen Fleming could be India's coach because they approached Stephen Fleming as well for the Indian team coach. Your
Well,
thoughts?
he may be. Let's see. I mean, he has been a good servant for CSK as well. But again, Dhoni भी एक काफी complex character है. So you never know, right? He's someone who has picked farming. He might actually pick it as his full-time job.
Can you
So
imagine the guy is now in Ranchi riding bikes? So I saw the visual today. He's back in Ranchi riding bike, chilling. I mean, he doesn't care, man. I mean, he's achieved
maybe
everything.
launches a bike brand of his own. Everything, man. You never know.
Yeah, you will be sponsored by that. But Dhoni as a coach is certainly a possibility. Don't rule it out. And I see Dhoni as coach of CSK in the long run. Like he is a coach of CSK in my opinion. Because Dhoni and CSK are not going to be set as two different entities. It's going to be one entity. Dhoni is still going to run the show. As we talk about Gambhir and KKR, it's going to be Dhoni and CSK. Unfortunately, I can't associate Rohit and MI anymore. I would love to associate it. I think Virat and RCB is going to be one thing which I'm going to remember for the rest of your lives as well. So, but he's not won a trophy. Can he do it this year or not? Do comment down if you're watching. Is it Virat's year to win an IPL? And can we see Gambhir versus Virat in an IPL final? But bro, they're like friends now. It's like West Delhi boys, man. I mean,
हाँ हो गया अब यार.
they solved it out quite well. So they're all good now. Thank you, Antariksh. I mean, we had a long live. We talked about almost all the teams out there. Maybe skipping few, but majorly the main teams. And guys who are watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and share this video with as many people as possible as well. And also fill the Google form. We'll be back here in a couple of days to talk about what's going to be happening in the next phase of IPL. That is who are going to be facing in the finals, etc. So we're going to be back here. So stay tuned. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Antariksh, once again. See you soon. Bye.